What is that one song that no matter how many times you replay it, will always stay a banger? What is a lie that most of the world still believes in? What is the most stereotypical Reddit opinion? My limited experience of the world justifies a general and sweeping authority on how others should live their lives. Unpopular opinions that are actually very common. The unanimously highly rated movie, TV show, or video game that I like is underrated. I was blown away when someone seriously said Pokemon was an underrated series. Literally the highest selling media franchise in history. Yeah guys, I like Pokemon, but it's definitely not underrated. Too many red flags. Leave your husband of 10 years. Leave him or her. It's over, bro. Solution to every relationship problem. Break up. Every work problem. Quit. Landlord problem. Move. Delete Facebook. Lawyer up. Hit the gym. Combinations of these verbs paired with those objects work also. TikTok is destroying society. Scrolls Reddit for 4 hours. What's the worst punishment you've received or witnessed? My mom used to read the ending to any book I bought and threatened to spoil the ending if my grades weren't good enough, or she would take the book outright and not give it back after a test lower than an A. My friends and I would share books, so it usually wasn't even mine. So that sucked, and I had to go buy replacement books a few times because she refused to return the book to me. When a new Harry Potter book came out, I hurried to read it before it could be taken away. It's not like I was rewarded for good grades, I just wasn't punished, so that was the reward. Yeesh. Woo. My mother once threatened to take me to an orphanage because she was done with me. We got home from the store and she sent me to my room. A few minutes later, she came in with plastic grocery sacks and told me one was for socks and one was for underwear. Said I should decide which one of my toys would go to which of my brothers because the orphanage wouldn't let me bring anything else. I was given till she was done making dinner to pack and divide my stuff. I sat in my room the rest of the night with stuff packed and toys divided. No one ever came back down the hall that night, and the next day she acted like it never happened. It's a running joke now that I am much older. How is any of that a joke? That's psychotic. Oh my god. Back when I was in Catholic school, 2 of my classmates, each of them being about 10 years old, were caught kissing on the playground. The boy was let off with a stern talking to. The girl was forced to get up in front of the entire school and read an essay about what a horrible thing she had done. References to the original sin were made, and at the end, she offered a tearful apology for tempting the boy, then announced that all of the girls in the school would be banned from recess for the rest of the week. It was the worst punishment in more ways than one. Oh, I'm getting a headache. I hate this. When I was a freshman in high school, my choir was invited to sing at Disneyland. We spent a lot of time fundraising, and I had to earn all the money to go because my family is poor. So like a week before Disneyland, progress reports go out, and I for some reason have a C- in PE. My parents flip the f*** out, tell me I'm not going, call my choir teacher and tell her I'm not going and to give my money to somebody else, and ground me for a month. The next day at school, I approach my PE teacher to find out what the f*** happened, and he tells me that he made a mistake. He marked my thing wrong, he looked at the gradebook wrong, and he made a mistake. He called my parents, my choir teacher called my parents, the f***ing principal called my parents, and they said no, that I still couldn't go because they weren't going back on a punishment. Wow, that's awful. Your parents must be really fun people. My mother dragged me out of the house by the hair, and I was begging her to stop, but she didn't. When my father got home, I thought he would help, but instead told me that I deserve it. One time, I said gaming to my teacher, and they thought I said to them, so I got detention. What's up, fellow gamers? Oh, my time to shine. My first formative memory came back in preschool. I had a teacher who was very strict. With kids our age, she had rules like nobody touching each other, clean your plate for meals, and keep your clothes on, etc. Well, one holiday season, she treated us to certain treats in the form of marshmallow snowmen and Hello Christmas trees. Well, I came to discover from this particular meal that I get extremely nauseous when faced with marshmallows and Jell-O. So as I took a bite of a snowman, I didn't feel too good. So naturally, I ate a bite of Jell-O to wash it down, and I puked on my plate. I of course stopped eating and probably cried, so our teacher came to me and, when faced with every possible option of how to approach the situation, thought it best to remind me of our clean plate policy and tell me I can't go play until everything on my plate was eaten. At that age, I hadn't learned to say no to authority figures, so I did exactly as instructed. It's my most vivid memory, and to this day, I don't dare go near marshmallows or Jell-O. That was hard to read. The fucking teacher made her clean her plate after she puked on it. Imagine having to eat your own puke because your teacher made you. I'm gonna be sick. Okay, we're done with that. That really was horrible. We're moving on. What would you do with $1 billion? I'd buy a house and invest a little bit and probably donate the rest. Get a car with doors that go like, oh called? Those are called wing doors, I think? I don't know. I don't remember what they're called. Right off. You'd never hear from me again. Besides all the obvious, house, car, boat, hook. There's a grocery store that I frequent, and this older gentleman and even older lady work there. They always seem so excited to see me. I'm gonna hook them up big time. Sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads. Nothing at all in terms of work. I'd buy a few properties around the world and bounce between them depending on my mood. I don't like big houses or flashy cars, so most people wouldn't know I had that kind of cash. Buy a social media site and ruin it for shits and giggles. You're short like 43 billion. For Twitter, yes, but you could easily nab MySpace for that. Bring MySpace back to its former glory. I must annoy people by having 7 different songs playing at the same time. My uncle said the other day, if you give me $1 billion, I'd donate half, then keep half. If you give me $1 million, I'd donate half, then keep half. But if you give me 1,000, off, it's all mine. Vanish. Nobody would hear from me again. I'd be living my best life on tropical islands and snowy hideouts. If I could invest smartly, I'd give back tons of money. But basically, I disappear and drop money for the best causes I could find. I just want to live happily in nice places, eating amazing food. I don't want cars or clothes or jewelry. I do want nice horses. That's my vice. What album is a 10 out of 10? Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, a 1959 jazz album that changed jazz music. Rumors, Fleetwood Mac. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Daft Punk, Discovery. Downward Spiral, 9 Inch Nails. Dark Side of the Moon, Aja, Steely Dan. Illmatic by Nas. Master of Puppets, Metallica. Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette. And on the flip side, what movie is a perfect 0 out of 10? Cats was absolutely awful. Like, not even funny bad, just, man, what the f***? I wouldn't even watch it if you were morbidly curious. 365 days. It was unbearable. I'm sorry to those who actually liked it. Dragon Ball Evolution. Fan 4 Stick. That movie. The Emoji Movie. Never have I seen anything so soulless. 80% of the horror content on Netflix. Best horror movie on Netflix is Hush, though. I think that's a good one. Some recent Disney live-action remakes. Pinocchio, Mulan, The Lion King. The animation quality is great, but there's zero soul to them, and I literally will never watch them again. Waste of time and money. What's the hardest types of people to argue with? The people who repeat dumb comebacks thinking they won the argument. Narcissists. Hands down. Someone who is listening only for their turn to speak. People who don't have any empathy and can't see anything from any perspective besides their own. People who have a victim mentality. People that believe that anyone who disagrees is a bad person. For better or worse, they shut down the moment you don't agree, meaning you're basically talking to a brick wall. Reddit users. I disagree, and here's why. How dare you? What's easier to get into but difficult to get out of? Debt, comfy clothes, Hotel California, a foam pit, relationships, a turtleneck sweater, a gym membership, negativity. It's so easy to get down on yourself and get into a negative mindset. A warm bubble bath. What would you say if your kid came out to you? Hi, gay. I'm dad. Classic. Oh, you're trans? I guess that makes me transparent. Honey, you owe me $20. I give him a hug and remind him I'm always there to support him and love him. Then demand he always bring his partners over so I can show off his baby pictures. My 15-year-old daughter came out to us this year. When she told us, I said, I know and I love you. Cool. Me too. Welcome to the club. A little bit of wholesome. You'll love to see it. What's the rarest object you own? Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, I have some first edition Japanese Pokemon cards, I think. Maybe, okay, I don't know if they're Japanese or not. I think they're just first edition Pokemon cards. They're pretty rare. Base set, by the way. An original Microsoft Explorer 3.0 mouse signed by Bill Gates and Stephen Fisher, the designer of the mouse. Microsoft Hardware gave it to me as a gift for helping them plan a research trip for gaming to Korea. Only one of only 2 I am aware of. In 1993, I wrote a letter to Matt Groening, and he responded with a drawing of Bart Simpson in a word balloon saying my name. It's probably not so rare, but it's a cool thing to have. An old encyclopedia that says Adolf Hitler is a former corporal who staged a failed coup for which he is doing a jail sentence. A bracelet made from the guitar strings of one of the members of Rammstein with a certificate of authenticity. An Olympic torch from the Vancouver Olympics. First edition of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, signed by Dr. Seuss. I have a mummy holding a baby that was found in a basement at an estate sale. I have an uncooked steak in the freezer. I think I do too. Maybe I'll cook that up for dinner tonight. What fictional food did you always want to try? A pan-galactic gargle blaster. Lamba's bread. The soup that Linguini messed up and then Remy fixed in Ratatouille. A food critique liked the soup so much that their positive review made the restaurant popular again after Auguste Gusteau died and the restaurant lost 2 stars. Honestly, all of the food from that movie I want to try. I don't think that's fictional. I think it's just, whatever. The sodas in Fallout. A Krabby Patty. The Beauty and the Beast Be Our Guest Feast. Kronk's spinach puffs from The Emperor's New Groove. So weird, but the rice porridge egg thing Mushu makes Mulan for brekkie. Oh, you mean kanji. It's really good. What is something people hate you for that you'll never change? I got a neurological disorder that make it difficult for me to socialize, but people mostly think I'm a weirdo, or dumb, or being ambitionless. I desire absolutely nothing except maybe living in solitude and peace. Most don't really understand that. My exes hated that I didn't get mad. I'm not sure what toxic relationships they're used to, but I like to settle arguments without screaming or throwing things. I understand that when someone is angry, they don't want to calm down. They want to validate the anger, but I don't f with that. You can yell if you want, but I'm not going to scream back. I'm not a child. I was always seen as being weird. That was enough for some people. Being short. Everyone laugh at the short person. I don't enjoy large weddings with 300 people. If I ever marry, I only want to invite our close friends and family, and my parents hate it every time I say it. Cautious driving. I go like 4 or 5 over and stick to the slow lane where applicable and still get the finger regularly. I give people my honest opinion when they ask what I think about their outfits. Oh, man. Good luck to you. What food or beverage did you try once and vowed to never again? There used to be a candy called burnt peanuts. I only tried them once when I was a kid. I can still taste that if I think about it. I was dirt poor growing up, and my parents would buy whatever meat they could afford. If it's a cheap cut of meat or awful, I've eaten it. The day we ate sheep brain, I remember telling myself I would never subject myself or any other human to it, and I've kept that vow. Coca-Cola with coffee canned beverage. I like coffee, and I enjoy Coke, but mixing them together sounded to me like it would be utterly disgusting. I naively assumed there was no way this would taste like someone just poured some coffee with cream into your glass of Coke, because only a demented maniac would attempt to market that, but it does, and it's honestly revolting. Live flying ants. I was in Kenya, and apparently it was a local delicacy, wrapped in a banana leaf like a wriggly burrito. I'm gonna throw up. Fondant. My sister had a toothless themed birthday cake, and it was one of those with the face on top, then fondant decorations. And the cake had 2 fondant dragon wings stuck in the side of it with toothpicks. I'd seen fondant on the show Nailed It and figured I'd better give it a try. That was a mistake. I'd never had something so sweet be so gross, and the texture was almost like what I'd imagine Play-Doh would be if I ever tried to eat some. Never again. Lemon vinegar flavored Kit Kat, only sold in Japan as far as I know. Puke City. Oysters. It feels like your tongue is eating another tongue. People with high social skills. What's the biggest mistake that people often make in interactions with others? Many people think that they need to be extroverted and outgoing in order to be good at social skills, but that's not necessarily true. Some of the best social skills come from being able to read people and understand what they need or want. So one of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that everyone is the same and that they should interact with everyone in the same way. People are too afraid of silence, thinking it comes across as awkward and maybe there's friction between you and the other person. Silences are natural in a conversation. It's either reached its end point or just wait for another topic to arise. Most people don't actually listen to one another with the intent of learning about their experience or perspective. They listen waiting for an opportunity to talk about themselves. The worst listeners find a way to make everything about themselves. It's always a dance, a lead, and a follow. Know when you're the lead and direct the conversation. Know when you're the follow and listen. A good conversation goes back and forth between roles and is fun. A bad conversation stays in the roles and leaves everyone feeling unheard or interrupted. Talk more than listening. Oversharing and interrupting conversations. It took me 45 years to learn that I do not need to muscle my way into a conversation, especially if I know little of the subject matter. Ask intelligent questions occasionally and use your ears, not your mouth. Main character syndrome. What's your "my life's been a lie" moment? A long time ago, I got bit by the Indiana Jones archaeology bug. I was rather obsessed, and it sparked a joy in history that I still hold to this day. Because we were getting into the point of history in school where the natural sciences were established, including archaeology, my parents took my sister and I out to the side yard. We set up on our own archaeological dig, complete with yarn grids tied around little stakes. We found some buried, broken pottery and got extremely excited. I wanted to keep my shards and piece them back together and put them on display, but my parents convinced me not to go that far. I only learned recently that they'd bought the pottery and buried it the night before. I love my parents. Getting a late ADHD diagnosis. It all makes sense now. When I finished my master's degree, became a therapist, and realized I no longer want to be a therapist. Curry sauce is a British invention. People told me the first day of the week was Sunday and not Monday. My head still isn't wrapped around it. Yeah, the first day of the week is Sunday. That's what the calendars start with. It's Sunday. Sunday, 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 Sunday. It's not Monday. People who say Monday are wrong. When I found out that I was adopted, so many people around me, including friends, family, and schoolmates, all knew except me. I'm an ex-Mormon, so where would you like me to begin? What movies are 10 out of 10? The good, the bad, and the ugly. Alien, 1979. The Silence of the Lambs. Shawshank Redemption. Best movie ever made, in my opinion. The Truman Show. Good morning, and if I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. When I picked up my dog Jojo from the vet, his vet name, or that his original owners gave him, was Truman. And I was like, ew, what? No way. Why would you do that? Just now his name is Jojo, and he's so sweet. The Princess Bride. The Big Lebowski. Oh brother, where art thou? Goodfellas. Megamind and Shrek. Must I say more? But seriously, I just like them. They're very comedic and generally a good way to escape it all with a few laughs. Pulp Fiction. Okay. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. What is something that is really popular now, but in 5 years, everyone will look back on and be embarrassed by? Posting pictures of you crying online. I see too many TikToks of people just crying. Like, it's not a good look for you, boo. The boy broccoli haircut. Being an influencer mom. Every single TikTok trend and phrase. The strange resurgence of early 2000 fashion. You know what I'm talking about. Paying $8 for a blue check mark. I admit, I did, but only for this month. I just wanted to make a couple jokes as a verified creator, and then after that, I'm never buying Twitter Blue ever again. Those ugly mushroom haircuts. Huge fake eyelashes. White tube socks and slides in public. Saying that slapped or that slaps. Now I know how adults felt when I said word. Damn, that hit a little too close to home. What's the worst movie you've ever seen? Cats, the movie. Probably Aragon. It was so obvious the scriptwriters either didn't know the books at all or just didn't care. I was once dragged to the third 50 Shades movie. No offense to the people behind it, but I think I'd rather write book reports on second grade essays on what they did over the summer than watch that gleaming trash dump. All of the Transformers movies except for the first one. The first one had that childhood novelty and freshness to it. Don't get me wrong, but even that one wasn't even great. I think at best it's okay, but all the sequels were dumpster fires that had more gasoline poured onto them. Also, that more recent Fantastic Four movie was pretty terabad. The one before it was okay. Well, hold on. Bumblebee was a great movie. It was done way better than any of the actual Transformers movies. Bumblebee was great. Movie 43. Nearly in tears at the price of the ticket to how terrible it was and the waste of 2 hours. I just saw the cast listing and was duped to go and see it. Catwoman with Halle Berry was so bad. That basketball scene was definitely something. The editing in that scene was the worst I've ever seen. The Emoji Movie. Epic movie. There are bad comedies and then there's epic movie. Non-stop jokes from start to finish and literally zero of them land. The only possible explanation is that the filmmakers didn't understand humor as a construct and maybe human emotion in general. Wonder Woman 84. How do you mess that up so badly? Where the Wild Things Are. Childhood ruined. One of my exes made me watch Twilight. Hated every minute. You're on a date with someone you really like, but then they say something that made you get up and leave. What did they say? Have you ever thought about owning your own business? You could join my team and make millions selling vitamin supplements. Happened to me, but she was pitching Amway. Amway household cleaning products are pretty good though, not gonna lie. Don't ask me how I know. My allergies aren't real, and they know a guy who's kind of a doctor that can cure me. Can we hurry this up? My next date is in 20 minutes. This literally happened to me. I'm never using Tinder or Bumble ever again. There's a bomb under my chair. We need to go now. I'm actually not after a monogamous thing. I'm poly and already dating 2 other people. Sorry, but I already have a boyfriend. I hate your dog. If that's your dog in your profile picture, that is a fucking cute dog. I want to pet it. Would you like to be part of the Herbalife team? I can't believe how happy I've been since the Lord took charge of my life. Ketchup is actually a type of smoothie. What's the first thing you would buy if you suddenly inherited $100,000 today? I'd have a nice, luxurious meal. I'd just invest it. I'd buy Twitter. I'm Ukrainian, so I did answered 2 Spartan armored vehicles. We have this huge crowdfunding campaign for 100 of them right now. I just live the same for 2 years while I find a good job. Milk. I'm out of milk. Burger. I'd buy a chunk of land to create a homestead that doesn't rely on the grid or food supply. For $100K? None of it? Probably have Chinese tonight. One whole Chinese? A succulent Chinese meal. What's your go-to? Tell me a joke. Make sure to start this joke real quiet. I got this. So these 2 males walk into a bar, right? And the first whale goes... And the second whale says, Frank, what the hell is wrong with you? The reaction to the joke is funnier than the joke itself. Went to the doc and I said, hey doc, I'm getting so fat I can't see my dick anymore. Doc says, why don't you dye it? I said, sure. What color? I get it. You're gonna color his penis. A worm walks into a bar. Bartender, how the f did you do that? What do you call a cheap circumcision? A ripoff. A penguin is driving across the country. Gets to a little town. Suddenly, something is wrong with his car as the engine is making a noise. He pulls into a garage. The mechanic comes out, takes a quick look and says, yeah, give me an hour. So the penguin goes next door to the diner, grabs some lunch to kill some time, then decides on having some ice cream for dessert. Penguins don't have hands, so he's scooping up the ice cream with his flippers, just making a total mess. He walks to the garage, goes into the office, the mechanic says, "Looks like you blew a seal." The penguin says, No, I just had some ice cream. A YouTuber I watch who live streams decided to torture his audience by repeatedly telling a 15-minute version of this dumb joke. Aqua FPS. Why did Mary fall off the swing? She had no arms. Knock knock. Who's there? Not Mary. Mary can probably knock with her head or her feet or something, or her knee. I don't know. You hear about the guy who dipped his balls in glitter? Yeah, pretty nuts. What's something you just can't understand? The lengths people will go to get attention. Electricity. I memorized the formulas in school. I can draw some of the diagrams. I understand fundamentally what's happening. That doesn't mean it's not black magic f***ery. How I could just kill a man. Daylight savings time. Polyamory. I am friends with a polycule of 6 people. I just do not understand how they manage to have a good relationship with everyone in their polycule. They all look so happy, and I can barely manage to keep one relationship going. 6? Bluetooth and Wi-Fi still sounds crazy to me, and I'm like 21. Why can't they make a good dinosaur movie like they did in 1993? What film franchise just needs to die? Speaking of, Jurassic Park! Woo! Let's go. So true. I don't even know what they're trying to do anymore. Halloween. If they reboot Spider-Man again, I'll kill Uncle Ben myself. Fast and Furious. Sad to say, but the Matrix franchise needs to go away. After the first one, it just went haywire. Any franchise that is part of a big extended universe. If I need to watch 10 other films, a bunch of subscription service-based series, and buy spin-off books just to understand what's going on, then I think we can agree it's got a bit silly. Pirates of the Caribbean. It can't exist without Johnny Depp. None. They make someone happy. That's wholesome of you. Which fictional character would you want as a next-door neighbor? Samwise Gamgee. Uncle Iroh. I want to drink tea with him and hug him. Squidward. I wouldn't want to listen to that clarinet playing. Flanders. So I can borrow all of his The girl from that movie, The Girl Next Door. It's about a star that falls for her neighbor. SpongeBob. Newt Scamander. What is a lie that most of the world still believes in? I heard this one a while ago. Waiting 24 hours before you report someone missing is bullshit. There is no law in any country that says that fat is worse than sugar. Video games cause violence. Actually, violence caused video games. That the age of colonialism is over. The cake was a lie. That college degree is always a good investment. What is that one song that no matter how many times you replay it, will always stay a banger? September, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Regulator, Warren G and Nate Dogg. Sultan's a Swing. Hold the Line by Toto. Such a good song. The Chain, Fleetwood Mac. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight by The Cutting Crew. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.